Now we're going to head over to Seamus over at Little Gray Cells, and he's got some new information coming out. Seamus, welcome back to Americanuck Radio. Appreciate you coming on. This is not looking good for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
No, not at all. Not at all. We had a really great session last night. A whole bunch of Canadians really came out. It'd be amiss to start even listing them. But lots of Canadians came out, and we kind of crowdfunded, researched for about 6 hours and came up with a lot of new stuff, and it's not looking good at all for the RCMP.
All right, so let's start off with the new points that you have to go through, just adding to how bad it looked already. Seamus, I'm going to give you the floor. Wherever you want to take this next, you go right ahead. What are the new points you'd like to bring forward on this?
Well, I think the first and foremost one that's really important here to, there's so many, but the first and foremost one and the biggest one of all, I think that we need to look at is the fact that Mr. Wortman got out of a one-way road that was cordoned off by the police and blockaded. How did he do that?
Well, wait a minute. Whoa. So it was cordoned off and blockaded. You had actual police cars with people stopping to get through the checkpoint, as it were, and this guy actually came up to the checkpoint. And had there already been people killed? Had they already identified that this was somebody perpetrating as a police officer in a quote-unquote mock police car, and this guy made it through? Is that what we're looking at?
Yes, to the best of my knowledge, that's correct. They responded fairly rapidly, and they had cordoned off the road. And then, obviously, he gets out. Now, how does he get out? They were farting around there till about 8:30 in the morning, blocking this road off. Meanwhile, there's one of the victim's brothers is hiding out in the bush. For 4 hours, he got hypothermia. He was hiding out there so long. He was trying to find the police.
Well, wait a minute, back up. One of the victim's brothers, so give me some light on that situation. Was he present when the shooting started, or give me just, prior to him going into the woods, what exactly happened with this individual?
He lives on the same road, and there was shooting already starting. His brother, I believe, was a volunteer fireman, and went outside, saw that there were fires, went into action, went to go and save these people. He got gunned down. The brother didn't know what was going on, so he went outside, comes across his brother's body, then suddenly sees a man kind of with a flashlight in the middle of the night searching around, and he starts hunting him.
Right.
So he goes off in the bush, hides. Eventually, he in the dark hides his phone and phones his dad, says, please call the police immediately. I'm getting hunted here, and don't call back on this phone because I don't want it to ring. So he stayed there for 4 hours. Nobody came and saved him. Nobody did anything. And the police basically in the press conference yesterday said, oh, no, that's not true. We were there. Now,
that's even worse.
Sorry?
That's even worse.
That's even worse, yeah. And so then the road is blockaded, yet this man in a police car with a real police uniform, and I believe a real police car, because it's brand new, not used, not bought from an auction,
right,
drives on through the blockade. They let him through. So the 15, I believe it's 15 victims, or 17, somewhere in that neighborhood, outside of that one road, the Portapique Beach Road, that responsibility lies on appearances to the RCMP.
Unreal.
That's their responsibility.
So bare minimum, let's just say this, bare minimum,
yes.
They suck at their job, or worst case scenario, they were actually in on it and knew what was happening.
Well, I don't see how they couldn't know. I mean, everybody apparently knew that, and those pages are all disappearing off Facebook, which is kind of spooky. The people that have been saying, listen, I knew he had cop cars, plural, The wife was driving them. All those pages are getting scrubbed. Any attempt to reach out to contact these people, they do not respond. So the man who they rescued eventually, who did have hypothermia, they took his phone. So nobody in his family that's outside of Nova Scotia knows how to get a hold of this guy, and they won't give it back. So he was pleading for this on the show. But I think it's really important. 17 people. Again, I'm just working with rough figures here, but I think it's 17 people. The responsibility of that would lie solely on the RCMP because they let this man through their blockade.
They could have stopped it early on.
They could have stopped it early on, but they didn't. Now, I'm not saying that they're necessarily in on it in that way. I'm saying that they just were negligent.
Yeah.
And I encourage anybody who is a surviving victim, I think they should all group together, survivor, they should all group together and launch a class action lawsuit against the government and against the RCMP.
Well, I mean, it comes down to this. Why do we have police if they are too dumb to stop something like this from happening? And number two, why would anybody pull over for a cop again? Let's get into how they tried to warn the public or the lack thereof.
Exactly. So I believe in the press conference yesterday, the man testified or stated that there were a few things in there that he stated that were really important. One, this man did not have a gun license. So this business about Trudeau floating out, oh, we need guns withdrawn, absolute bollocks.
Exactly. Yet this guy shouldn't have had him in the first place, so he was already breaking the law right there.
Yes, he had a weapons prohibition on him, in fact. Are
you serious? So he had a court order saying that he was not allowed to have weapons.
I don't believe at that time, but earlier in his life he had one. He'd had a conviction for, I think, don't quote me on this one, but I think for beating up a 15-year-old girl. And so, I mean, obviously that carries a weapons prohibition.
Yeah.
So, but there's some other really key facts to this, which would be the fact that the RCMP evacuated people, and I will get to your question. The RCMP evacuated people from Portapique Beach Road and took them to a nearby fire hall, Onslow Fire Hall.
Okay.
And they sheltered them there. They took the man from the forest there. Now, when they were at the fire hall, an RCMP cruiser came up to the fire hall. 2 police officers got out and opened fire on the fire hall.
The same fire hall where they had evacuated certain members of the community and brought them to this fire hall, and then other RCMP officers all showed up and started shooting at the building? That's
correct.
What the hell?
Wait a minute. The very people that they saved, they started opening fire on.
Did they hit anybody?
No, they didn't. Not to my knowledge.
They can't even do that. So listen, was the shooter in the area when they showed up and started shooting at the building where they put the people that they put there to be safe from an active shooter that they were shooting at?
Absolutely not. He was long gone. He was down towards the fire station by this point.
What the hell is this?
So I believe I'm thinking that they got a radio call or something that he was no longer in this area. They get in their car, they just drive off. They didn't check to see if anybody was hurt. Nothing.
They just shot up a fire hall and then drove away?
That's correct.
And didn't hit one person. It's lucky that they're terrible shots.
Well, that's what we're being told. Nobody got hurt. Now, this opens more avenues. Does this mean that the RCMP, in fact, shot other people? That video that I had been sent by Steve LTT shows them doing the pit maneuver, which we discussed last time. And the man in the video, who's taking it, clearly indicates they shot a real police officer. Now, did the RCMP shoot their own officer?
And that would be that woman that they keep talking about.
That's correct. Did they shoot other civilians? Or civilians?
Well, there was a reason Barney Fife only had one bullet, and it's sounding like that reason needs to apply today. Let's talk about the how they tried to warn the public. Isn't there some sort of Amber Alert or provincial?
Yes.
Yeah. So what did they do?
Nothing. In fact, the emergency response, gosh, I hope I have this right because I don't want to be making accusations that are not correct. But
it's good that you've got to specify if you're wandering into the realm of speculation first, and I respect
I'm just trying to recall the press interview. I'm sorry, there was so much data that we were going through.
Right.
The press interview, I believe the RCMP officer, the commissioner or whatever rank he is, stated that the emergency response people contacted them to turn on the emergency response. Do you want to turn it on now? And they said, oh, we're working on it. Now, by the point that it was all finished and said and done, they said, oh, well, we're getting close to being ready now. Now, this is 12 hours after this has all started.
I saw a
how
story.
Many people in Nova Scotia? Lots of people don't have Twitter.
Yeah, they went on Twitter. They went on Twitter to say that there was an active shooter situation going on, but they could have used the... Now, I saw another story that the U.S. consulate actually was warning American expats living in Nova Scotia, and that they actually got the warning before Nova Scotia residents that have lived there the whole lives did.
Yes, but why? The answer is because they're trying to cover their own ass.
Well, that's the only logical explanation. That's the only thing that works.
Absolutely. If you go to their Twitter feed today, they've deleted the tweet that says that they shot him. So they've left the one that says, though, that he's in custody still there. They're honestly really, really trying to cover their own ass and basically sweating bullets, honestly. And if this man had this uniform, this would be, and this goes into speculation, but if he has this uniform, which is a real police uniform, and they cannot answer as to how he got it. They're not saying it's fake. They're not saying that there was not somebody inside helping them, which I think there was. And I think this is the problem. And the car, did he in fact get the car from the RCMP? Now, next point, did he get the guns from the RCMP?
Well, however he got them, it was illegal. But I mean, he had a police car, he had a police uniform. Did he get his weapons from them too?
Yeah. Are we dealing with such a dirty police force that, in fact, they will open fire on citizens? Unreal. And that's a fact that they've come out. The head of CERT came out and said that. And yet these very people are investigating themselves. They're responsible for all of these other deaths. All of them, because they were there. And they didn't apprehend this man. They let him through.
Yeah, that's a fine kettle of fish right there. Seamus, we're out of time on this show. I've got to let you go. I got possibly 1 minute left. Is there one more quick point you want to get in, or should we call it a day at that?
I just want to say thank you to everybody who's coming out and helping doing this investigating over on my channel. I really appreciate it because it's so heartwarming to see how many Canadians are putting hard time in and coming up with these facts and tracing down leads. So I'm going to continue, and because we're going to get answers.
Thanks for your work, Seamus.
That this class action suit happens.
Absolutely. We've got to let you go. We are out of time. Thank you for all the great work that you're doing, ladies and gentlemen. That was Seamus over at Little Gray Cells. You go and subscribe to his channel. And we're going to have him back on as the information comes out, because I guarantee you there's going to be more coming out. So they bring all the people that they're trying to protect to a fire hall, and then other cops show up and start shooting at it. Well, it's a damn good thing that they're that incompetent that they didn't shoot more people. And if those people were killed, would they have said that the gunman did it? Huh? It was a guy in a uniform after all. This story's getting worse all the time. We're going to bring Seamus back because I guarantee you, him and his band of citizen journalists are going to bring out more. But I watched a little bit of the press conference with the RCMP speaker this morning, and the media was actually asking real questions. And that guy looked like he was squirming. He looked like, oh my God, why am I the one that has to answer these questions? Thank you for tuning into Americanuck Radio. Stay tuned for Right Now with Jim Dawes on the Mojo 50 Radio Network.
Americanuck Radio.
Bye, everybody.